Okay, hopefully we are now live. Microphone again, hopefully working. Had a few problems with that over the last couple of days. If it drops out, please shout at me in the chat so that I see it. That seems to be a little bit inconsistent, that it drops in and out. So please do if you see that it drops there. A couple of items of housekeeping just to kick off. Yes, it's eSun, so eSun Live. It is sponsored to a certain extent, so I guess they provided material for me to print all the things as you do, and in return for that, I was to come on and talk about it on, as they term it, at eSun Live. So here we are on the Infill show, and this time it's eSun Live. So yeah, no other money exchanged hands. I would point that out straight at the outset. Also, I already use eSun's filament, love it, and would recommend it wholeheartedly. One of the reasons that I do recommend it is because it's available on Amazon. If you've got Amazon Prime, then it takes away the issues, if you like, with when you look at the price of something and you have to add the post and package on there, which is certainly in the UK is often an issue when you're trying to buy filament. So yeah, as I say, it's all is good. I promise you, I have not been coerced into saying nice things, but I will say nice things because I do love this filament. It is really good quality. So another couple of things to mention. There is a code. If anybody saw the eSun post earlier on, there's a code which is available. Let me just see if I can pop that up there. So that code is live from now until midnight UK time. Unfortunately, and I do apologise for this, it is only for the UK Amazon store. They couldn't give me a code for anywhere else. And the other thing that I would point out is, you know, at the moment, just due to the situation that we're in, it is really difficult to get stock anywhere. So get on there quick and order what it is that you want. PLA Plus and eSilk. The one thing that you can't order that I'm going to be talking about here is TPU, because unfortunately they are out of stock of the TPU. So by all means, have a look at that code if you're able to order from Amazon UK. I know that doesn't just include UK people, all those clever people can do things out there and order. I wouldn't say nefarious ways, but certainly know a way around the system. But yeah, unfortunately, it's only available for that. That's the code there. As far as I'm aware, the capitalisation does count. So get that there. Yeah. So Karen, yeah, she's gotten that from before. So the bit that I didn't mention, I guess, is that it's 10% off. So that's what that code gives you: 10% off on the PLA Plus and the eSilk, and the links to go direct to make sure that you get the right store and the right items. The links to go direct should be in the description of this video. Okay, so I see a few people have jumped in the chat. So obviously already I was chatting back and forth. Nick Daimlo has been there, Karen, and now my good friend Tommy Graphit. And if you think that any of the graphics look, so let's think that one, for instance, and the ones that were playing before I came on, if you think that any of those look semi-professional, no, they don't. They look properly professional because Graphit did them, and he is a very good dude, and he put up with my complaining and getting them there and then not using them for about 12 months. So many thanks, Tommy. I think this is the first time since I actually started doing the Infill streams that I've done it early enough that Tommy's not already gone to bed. So a bit of an early hour. So it is the main reason that I made it early, just so that he could get on and see that. So I see another couple of guys in there. Grumpy Dude, hi guy. Pokon, well done, hello. No. Surely, Wexler, surely you should be streaming, not on listening and watching somebody's stream. I didn't think it worked that way. I thought you had to always be streaming. Another reason for going early is just to make sure that you miss clashing schedules with any of Wexter's screens, seeing as it's usually every single day. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to still on housekeeping, the last thing that I made a note to mention was the fact that I've not streamed for over a month. I'm going to hit the wrong buttons. I might struggle to find the buttons. I have been having problems with the sound, so if the mic mutes, again, shout in the chat and I will see. And the lighting might go hit and miss, so again, if I do something stupid from a streaming point of view, my apologies. And as I mentioned in the chat just before, it is absolutely boiling in here today. The UK weather, you can guarantee it. It's been raining and cold for the last few days, and I couldn't do the stream, and suddenly the clouds part, the sun comes out, and the workshop turns into a hot box. So beads of sweat, and I apologise. There's little Nick. Hi Nick. Oh, Nando, how you doing, man? Nando, I owe you another interview on the Infill show, because I screwed up last time with video, and now I know how to make that better. So we will do it properly this time, and we'll get lots of nice photos of your stuff on there as well, and hopefully it'll be as good. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the interview last time. I really enjoyed what you had to say. Unfortunately, that was all that we finished up with, what you had to say. Okay, so as I say, that was the kind of the housekeeping stuff that I really wanted to do. So I want to kick into the meat of this, which is really to talk about the eSun filaments that I've been using. What I tend to do whenever anybody ever gives me stuff like this is just to absolutely batter out as many prints as I can, and usually all of my own designs, just because that's part of the fun of it, I guess, and most of those designs come up on the fly. So, as I said, unfortunately, for those that are joining late, the code down here is usable on the UK Amazon store. So if you've got the option of using the UK Amazon store, then you can go on there and get 10% discount on the PLA Plus and the eSilk. Links in the down in the description of the video. Okay, so let's actually get to talking about the filament. So first of all, the TPU, which, as I say, unfortunately is out of stock at the moment, but I was given a choice of colours, and I decided to go for the transparent purple. The first print, and I will show it, didn't go so well, and you see that. I mean, it printed okay, it printed out okay, but if you look, it's actually quite crystalline. Just try to get it right in the light so you can see it. So it's actually quite crystalline in nature and not smooth. Didn't seem right at all. And the reason for that is I just did what I normally do. Is I trusted Prusa Slice. I went with the normal flex temperatures that I would normally use, which is 250. Now, if I swivel around, and for those that have been on my streams before, you'll notice that there's no squeaky noise, and that's because I've ditched the chair. So if I get the TPU, so eSun TPU, and the range it says to print is 200 to 220, and I was printing at 250, so that ain't gonna work. So basically, I was cooking the temperament, cooking the filament, and for all you still get a decent enough feel to it. It's kind of it's nice from a touch tactile point of view. It doesn't look as nice. Now let's compare that. I guess let's do a side-by-side comparison with the printed at the correct temperatures, and I don't know whether this is going to come out well enough in the video. You can just see, I guess, the difference in those colours. This one looks almost like a light violet, whereas this, and the colour for this, incidentally, is transparent purple. This looks, feels, everything just better, much better. And obviously, so I printed these tyres. If we can just make out in the light, maybe you can maybe see the infill. So I put a fair bit of infill on them because I wanted them to be structural kind of wheels, I guess. And they are quite meaty, but for all the tough, they've still got that nice quality, that nice touch, tactile touch. So that's, as I say, you print it with Infill, but then obviously the trick, and it's, you know, if anybody's going to print TPU or flex fills or whatever, then the one to show it off is to do vase mode, or vase mode as I would call it in the UK. So vase, I printed a vase, funnily enough, and the good thing, I mean, it looks really nice. You can see the nice sheen on it. It's, I mean, I guess on the camera it's probably washing the colours out. It's a little bit deeper than that. But the trick on this is that, let's see if I can get the sound. It's completely squishable, and you know, just shows the total inverse of that quite stiffness. So when there's no infill in it, that's what you get. And obviously you can play around with that. A number of perimeters and etc. will really make a difference to the flexibility of that. That's quite good when you see it wobbling, isn't it? I also did another one. There's another print here with, again, very similar to the other tyres, and again it's just tyres. That's the bit where I didn't actually make that quite fat enough, so the wheels aren't staying on. But okay, so as I say, the TPU unfortunately isn't available in the shop, but as soon as it is, I would jump on it. And the good thing I think about eSun's filaments as well is, especially if you go through Amazon, you get the free delivery if you've got Prime, which I have. Is also that they're actually really well priced, I think, for filament. So you know, typically the PLAs are kind of like 22 quid UK. So, you know, really good. And the TPU's not horrendously expensive. Sorry, what did I do to make your headphones explode, Tommy? Little nicks going, but no problems. He's okay. All right then, that's good. Yeah, so the price I think is really good, and the TPU price is good as well when you compare it to other flex. And the bit that you really have to bear in mind when you're looking at the price of it as well is that spool there, TPU, transparent purple, and it's a kilogram, and that is a kick that you have to watch out for when you're buying TPU, flex, fill, etc. from other people, because a lot of them only give you 500 grams, something like that, and you know, you think you're getting quite a lot, but no, it's a kilogram. So really good. So that was the TPU. As I say, I found it printing. I was printing on the Prusa's. In fact, I printed it all on the Mark IIs, which tends to be my my flexible machine. That's the machine that I use for that sort of thing, and printed with absolutely no issues whatsoever. As I say, once I fixed the temperature so it was down in the range that's recommended, I just went straight to the 220, the top of the range. Once I printed within that range, the finish was great, and even with the temperature way over the top, it still printed great. Obviously, it's TPU, you're going to get a bit of string in. I tend to turn off retraction completely, certainly on the Mark II, where you've not got that nice constrained filament path. So, you know, better stringiness, yes, but when you're doing things like, you know, you do the vase mode, and it is. You know, you can see obviously it doesn't have to come away at any point. It's just a continuous run all the way at the top, and the finish is great. So absolutely no issues with that. I would say that if you're going to store it and reuse it, because there's a kilogram, and that's the flip side, I guess, to there being that much of it. If you're going to store it and use it, then the next time you come to use it, I would definitely advise drying it out. TPU is quite hygroscopic. It will suck up that moisture for fun. I didn't have any issues with this stuff out of the bag. I've not had to dry it out at all, but yeah, I would say going forward that would probably need to happen. Drink time. Not sponsored. Shame. Okay, so moving on. The next two, the other two filaments that I got from them, I got an eSilk, which I'd already had before. I've had the lime green and cyan. Cyan I love. I love any blue really, but I absolutely love this blue. It's a great colour, nice light blue, and not really like one that I had any other filament similar to. So that was great. The lime green again was great, but this time I chose to go for the copper because it's one that I'd looked at a few times. I'd seen other people print with it and thought, you know, it looked really good. So I decided to go with that, and I have to say, I absolutely adore this colour. It's so good. The shine is fantastic, and also just the colour. I think the colour's great. So as I say, I printed a few things. I kind of showed this before. This was my armadillo car thing. I can't explain why, but I did. A while ago I did this, and this was something that I designed for at the request of Tom Filament Frenzy, and as soon as I did it he said, oh, you could put wheels on that. So I then did another one which I haven't got because the kids are playing with it. I did another one with wheels on, and the idea just stuck in my head that I'll do another one. So I did this, and because I didn't want it to be a dinosaur, crocodile, whatever it is that you think that is, it's a armadillo, very good kind of. I wish I'd have thought something as pithy as that, but I didn't. But yeah, armadillo sums it up to perfection. So like you're saying, Tommy, copper silk was the first silk filament, the first you had to dry. So that is interesting. I didn't have to dry this at all. Absolutely no issues with this whatsoever. I've printed a lot with it, and it printed great. So that, I mean, this is one of my old models, and it is unfortunately wrong size can, but if you print it with just two perimeters, it's a decent size koozie. However, I printed other stuff with it as well. It was a rocket design, but I was like, I don't like it. So I don't think I've even posted this. Pictures of this, but it will be at some point when I make a photo with a load of new rocket designs. It'll probably be sat in the background, just, you know, taking up space. But again, it does show the fantastic shine that you get from this. We'll not look at the bottom because I made a bit of a mistake at the bottom, but there you go. Taking it off the bed, I made a bit of a rick. But again, you know, no stringing, no anything, so I didn't have any issues whatsoever with moisture on this one. So straight out of the bag, worked perfectly. As well as that, I printed this, and this was something I actually already had kind of on the go. It was a spaceship at one time, and then talking to my son, he insisted that I make him a new boat, and he's very good at describing the type of things he wants, even though he doesn't know what they're really called. So he kind of tells you bit by bit, and he wanted a boat, but this time it needed 3 things in the water instead of just one, and he wanted it to be able to fly, and he wanted it to be able to go underwater, and he did this on it and that on it. So, and somewhere for his robots to go when they're in there. So we did all this, and so I just changed it into a boat. So instead of it being fairly minimal changes to the overall, but did quite a lot of tweaking to turn it into a boat and give it a boat hull, and it does float. So success. But that prints kind of that way, which is why you get a nice finish against all of these. That's great. Remember, I printed one of Ian's rockets in transparent filament, and it ran out at the end. I had to change the red filament. The result was like a boob. Well, fortunately, I ticked the box that said this is not made for children, so you're more than welcome to talk about boobs. What else? I'll save this one until we're switching over to the PLA Plus. But just as I said, I had actually used the eSilk before and had no issues with it. This is the Cyan, which fantastic colour. This has been used as a toy in water for about 12 months, I think now, and still is fantastic. No problem. Still looks as good. It's a little bit at the moment maybe discoloured. It's maybe got quite a lot of chlorine. I've been attacking it, but you know, still got the sheen. Still got when the water's on it. Still looks great. Really good. This is one of my old rocket designs, but I think the original was kind of yay big, and this is a smallified version. So I have ensmallened it just to print something that looks good with that shine. And what I find is that when you've got these nice rounded smooth surfaces, they look fantastic when you print them there. So what else? The guys in the chat will tell me, I think it's Photisment. I think it's a Photisment Hulk. I printed it a long time ago, so I can't quite remember. But again, that shine, so that's the lime, and it is fantastic. There is also, if I move to the side, you can see here, there's one of my bins, my big tall bin thing that I do, and again, that is printed in the lime silk, and I love it. There's actually another. Try to be clever with the design of that, and don't like it, but it printed all right. It proved it printed okay. So as I said, the copper was one of the colours that I went for, but also I decided that I wanted this violet, and this is, if you're into pinks or purples or purpley pinks or pinky purples, then this is a fantastic colour. And again, the same sheen as the metallic colours, and just fantastic. Another one that prints vertical. This one I started from scratch because, as is the constant cycle that I live in, I created the boat for my lad, and my daughter said, I want one now. All right, okay. So she decided what she wanted, and she wanted a door, so we got a door. It doesn't print in place. I do apologise to Fernando for not being that good to make it print in place. It just literally snaps in. Just design wise, that's what I went for, and it does look really good. And the semi funny tale about this one is that, so this one started life as a spaceship, and I converted it to be a boat. This one I set off to design a boat, and halfway through I kind of looked at the form and went, oh, I could make that into a spaceship really easy. But no, I persevered because she's asked for a boat. I made it into a boat. But I think that shine looks fantastic. So if you're into pinks, definitely one. And violet, eSilk violet, and again, I showed this before, I think, with the tyres, the sheen on here. This is the same, the eSilk violet, and just comes out fantastic. It looks so nice. What layer height are all those printed in, Ian? They're all 0.2, every single one of them, and I basically standardised and said, right, I'm not going to do anything other than 0.2 for all of these ones that I'm testing. Greg's late, can't believe it. All the things that we talked about that would have been right up your street, Greg, too late, gone. Yeah, so this car, and I've done similar cars before, but this is a pickup truck, and all in eSun. So you've got the transparent purple TPU, you've got the eSilk violet that we were just talking about, and then this is PLA plus, so the chassis, the screws that hold everything together, and the glass cab is all in red, PLA plus. And again, PLA plus never had any issues with this whatsoever. Okay, so as we're now showing kind of combined things, I'll move on to this one, and this is one that I think is great, and it just came out so well, and a lot of that I think is down to the new alpha version of Prusa Slicer, which timing is everything. Greg actually compiled, and I stole it from Tom, and and that gives you this the new top layers, which is monotonous. I still can't get my head around the fact that it's called monotonous. That would mean boring, really, mostly here. But she's upside down. And that really has given a nice finish to this, and it's meant that everything's in one direction. So because of that, you get that nice even shine out of it, which just works so well. I think it's just really good. And Karen's a fan of this one, I know, because she's a big Harlequin fan. And let me just get that a bit closer, you can see that. And obviously, if it's not obvious, this isn't an MMU print, it's a colour swap print. So I don't know if you can quite see that all of those colours are printed at different layer heights. So what order did it print in? So we started off with the copper, the eSilk copper. Then we had PLA plus cold white, then the PLA plus skin, I think it's called, PLA plus black, then red, then blue. So blue's the highest part of the print, and yeah, I think it came out really well. That obviously there's a video of that. Let me just see if I can do this. Who even knows if this will work? And for any latecomers, I've already apologised for the fact that I've not streamed for over a month, so I'm going to press the wrong buttons, and unfortunately I can't get OBS to work the way it normally does, so I can see the preview. So I'm guessing what it is that I'm going to put up. Let's try this. Get rid of that. Let's just see if this plays when we come in. Ah, there we go. Save me out. Oh, got the strength. You know, I haven't rolled that up. So hopefully now you're seeing the video run over there. And the process for that was I found an image online, took that image into Illustrator. From Illustrator I created an SVG, took that SVG then into firstly into Fusion 360, because it's pretty good at handling import of SVGs, and then passed it on to 123D, which is still my CAD package of choice. I think me and Fernando are the last holdouts for 123D. It's just fast. It's just the best way I can describe it. I'm kind of fast at doing stuff in there. I can achieve pretty much everything the same in Fusion 360, and I have to drop into Fusion 360 for quite a lot of functions. And when you try something and it doesn't work because 123D crashes out, but I would still 9 times out of 10 start in 123D. So from there, outputted it into Prusa Slicer, and as I say, that monotonous top layers really made a good deal out of that. So it's the late Tom Jackson. When you're going to make a square, I'm not going to make a square. You're not square. You might be square. I'm not. Don't want to be a one-trick pony. Where's the donate button? What am I drinking? Always, Tom. Yep, no, that's right, Fernando. The only problem I find is that I mean, stuff like this, you do start hitting the limits that it slows down. But saying that, Fusion struggles, and I don't know why this is, but Fusion really struggles. I think with every time I've done these SVG conversions, they've really struggled. And just to refresh people's memory, this was kind of, it's like the first one that I did a video about with the SVG. And this, the good thing about this is because it's like that, you can see the colours, and it really, I think better explains the technique. And these, you know, completely on topic, these were all eSun colours as well, so you may recognise the colours. There we go. The one thing I will say, so this was the original white, PLA plus white. This time I kind of went for the cold white because I just went, ooh, cold white, something different should I do? And it's great. It really is fantastic. And I don't know if you can see if I hold it up, not really, but the difference in the white. There's quite a few whites in this wall, but there is 2 spools worth, 2 kilograms worth of PLA plus white, and it looks white until you hold this up to it, and it's more of a milky white compared to this, and this is absolutely spot on. So yeah, so that's the hex wall. The hex wall's coming along. You see it behind me. I guess the big thing on that is that I just decided to concentrate on making as many of the frames and filling out the wall first, and then just do a few of the tiles, and then that leaves me two things. It leaves me scope to, in my own leisure, come up with new designs to put on the wall, and then no, Tom, they won't be square. They will still be hexagons. But then it also lets, people, if you want to design a hexagon, the essay, I think, the SAT files are up on both Prusa printers and Mind Manufacturing, and maybe even Colts. I can't remember now. For these, so the SAT files you can load into CAD, and you can, it basically retains everything, and you can work straight away from it. The STLs are there as well, but yeah, so the blank one's there so that you can actually come up with that. So if you can come up with a design then that fits inside that hexagon tile, then please do. What was the other thing I was going to say? PLA plus then. Yes, the cold white is really good. I guess I've kind of ran through them quite a lot. I've got some more pictures I can show if we transition in there. So that is the Batman tile, which is kind of, you can just see it over my shoulder there. The issue with this is that you can see on the screen that that wasn't using the alpha. So the top layers are actually done in different directions, and you can actually see the difference. Now, when it's on the wall, doesn't matter, but that photograph there, yes, you can see it. So it's one of those interesting ones, I guess, where now that the option is there in Prusa Slice, or it's in the alpha, then I would use that every time. But it wasn't there, so I printed that. It came out nice still, but that's the black and the cold white PLA plus. And as I say, if you kind of stand away from it a little bit, it looks great. It looks great. There's no real issue with that. So what else have we got? Let's go with this one. This is one, and again, this is one that I can't actually bring and show you, and the reason for that is that it's on my son's bedroom wall, and that's where you see it there. So both the rocket on the left hand side, which was the original, again done over 12 months ago in PLA plus, different colours. The one on the right is the new one that I'd probably, it's not a massive departure from the design there, so I'd changed the design to look like that previously, 12 months ago probably, and never printed it out. So I took the opportunity now, and that is printed in the cyan eSilk and the copper eSilk, and the cold white for the little portholes. The lettering is PLA plus as well, and the black at the back is PLA plus. So all pretty standard, pretty good, I think. As I say, I really like that. The boat, you've seen, I've shown you a few times, but that's it in its natural environment, sat on the water, floats great, really does the job. What have we got there? And oops, daisy. So, for some reason that was not. No, they're not. Alright, I can't show you the other pictures because they're not coming up, but it's basically the prints that you've already seen. This is the bit where I said pressing the buttons probably won't work. Okay, so let's Easy. Let's go back to that one. Okay, so we're back with the with my ugly mug. Okay, so that I think I've pretty much run through all those filaments. I was going to try and go slow, but I think I did that. Let's think any other things that we need to cover out before I jump into the chat and see what you're all saying. You're probably, there's not much of a difference to be seen between them. You can see that. I'm looking at, because I'm looking at the wrong picture. I'm doing the wrong thing, right? So they look very, very similar. There's if I hold them up, there's not much difference. The difference here is kind of 205 on the temp, and this is 210, and 215 actually, I think maybe. But they printed great. They both print spot on. So if you have them in the daylight, this one's maybe a little bit more matte, but really there isn't a great deal of difference between them. So you can go down 205, still get that great sheen. I wouldn't go any higher, because that's when you start getting the stringiness. So let's have a dive into the chat and see what Tom's calling me. Because he's about to be calling me something. He puts a hex on you, blah 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 blah. There we go. Are you still? You're not still going on about the wrench, are you? I don't know if surely all these admin guys, can they not give you a wrench if they really wanted to? Love that stuff. Yeah. Harley Tail and you guys have spanners. Such is life, Karen. What can I say? You get out of everything. Batman, yeah, the Batman I like Nando. Line is a feature. Nice MMU Globe. STL. MMU Globe. What, Tom? You're off on your head. Don't jump in here, it's dangerous. It's too late. I should have read that first. You'd have put that in capitals, I might have seen it and not done that. Where's eSun? So eSun, unfortunately, Tom, apologise, because it's like 3 AM and unlike you, they don't have the stamina to jump in at this time. Don't know what you're saying there, don't be graphic, but that's fine. Can you give that pot a squish? Test live. The pot? No. The pot does not squish. However, what you did miss when you were on it before was the... Oops. Time carrying out, that's just not nice. Looks like a dragon capsule MMU. Wait. I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't even seen a dragon capsule MMU. There doesn't seem to be one in existence. I've looked, don't get me wrong. I could imagine it was a total accident, Tom. Yeah, You're well known for that, Tom. You will know. I don't know whether anybody answered in the chat before. Is that a Fotis Mint Hulk? I know you probably have never printed anything that small in your life. I just can't remember. It's that long since I printed that. It's probably 18 months, maybe, since I printed that. Don't know. Blow up vase. I must admit I did that the first time I squished it, and it wasn't coming back quick enough. So, and it came up all right. There was another print in TPU, but for fear of Tom losing it, I haven't brought that one in. But just to be clear, it's a throw toy. It's nothing else. No matter what Tom thinks, and I know he's got a big butt, but it is quite large. And the thing with the TPU, and for all I think I mentioned this before. A lot of people kind of talk about it being flexible as being the big thing, the big property of it, that it's really good that it's flexible. But the thing that's really good with it is the tactile. It feels so good. And I printed, I haven't got it, I don't know where it is, but I printed a while back, and it's a flexible material. I don't think it was an eSun one, but I printed one of my playset vehicles. It was a plane, and I printed it in TPU just to in FlexFill, I think it was, just to show that it would print. And the feel of it was so much better than the PLA, and absolutely this is the case with that. It just really feels good. What rhymes with Loch Ness? What do you want me to throw? That I can throw that. There. The bit say you missed earlier on, Tom, I mentioned that, look, I can move about as much as I like, and there's no noise because I'm sat on boxes instead of that squeaky seat. I've had at least half a can of WD-40 on it, and it just refuses to stop squeaking. So it's been relegated. I may well even just throw it out to make more space. That would be much better. Okay, so has anybody got any other questions? You can't say it's too small. I know it's normally that big, Tom, isn't it, when you print it? Ooh, zoom in. That is the hog. There you go. What can I say? What rhymes with Loch Ness? Still don't know what rhymes with Loch Ness. No idea. Sorry, bang made a loud noise. So I very cavalierly threw away that vase before, and now I want it back. I have a question. Only allowed to use one filament for the rest of your life. What is it and why? Do you mean brand? Do you mean colour? Do you mean type? Have to be more specific than that, Tom. Come on. You missed most of it, to be fair, Jordan. What can I say? Starts with a P. Doesn't. Are you specifying, Tom? That, incidentally, if I get up closer, is the lime one again on the tall ball bin. Which I keep various things in. The reason that was different to just upsizing that was that I made it with a smooth surface so that it was easier to clean out. I don't know why. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Let's see. Just one filament. Mine would be Voodoo. All right. Okay, one filament. Oh, that would be very, very difficult. And bearing in mind that, oh, sorry, this is an eSun stream. I do love this. I'm a sucker for blue. I know you think, Tom, that I'm a mad green fan, but blue is by far my favourite colour. I love blue, and this is very similar to the shade of my football team, so I like it. And it's one of these ones that snuck up on me because back in the day I didn't really like the silky filaments. I was never a fan. When the polyalchemy first came out, I didn't jump out at me. I tried a couple, as you know, Tom, early on. Had issues with them, but even then, the silky finish just wasn't really doing it for me, and that it was mainly because, as you know, I do an awful lot of functional prints. I like practical prints. I also like Mancunian blue. Nando, exactly it. I also like, do stuff for the toys for the kids, and I've been doing the science fiction-y play set and stuff like that. they don't really lend themselves to those shiny colours. And never really got into the shiny colours, and then just recently, and I don't know why this is, but I've more and more got into them, and it's just the fact that I guess you can print anything in them if you really want to. The copper's great. The copper's a really nice colour, but I do love that blue. I do love that blue. And PLA plus, you know, PLA, it's just the easiest thing to print, isn't it? It's okay. Hopefully that is back. Thank you for shouting up. I did expect that to happen, and I mentioned that earlier on in the stream, that if it happened, to shout out. So thank you very much for doing that. I honestly don't know what's going on. It's a month since I streamed. Haven't used OBS. I updated OBS yesterday and then finished up having to roll my PC back because it just completely killed me. So this is working better than it was yesterday, but still I'm having these issues where the audio drops out. Yesterday that audio was dropping out every couple of minutes. Nick will remember, because Nick was helping me test, and it just kept dropping off for no good reason. And the way I fixed it is by going into the properties, selecting a different mic, and then selecting the same one again. Ping, it comes straight back on. So can't explain it, don't understand it, but there you go. So I don't know where was I up to in my meandering waffle before the audio clicked out. I don't know, but yeah. So if I had to print in only one colour for the rest of my days, it would be that different one, that blue, that cyan silk, just fantastic colour. And the funny thing, it probably lends itself to less, you know, I like to be in the science fiction-y stuff. I tend to try and be more realistic in the colours, and it lends itself less to that. But what I found myself doing was going, what could I print in that? What could I print in that? Which is, as Tom knows, isn't really me. I tend to want to print specific things in specific ways rather than just look at a bust online and go, "Ooh, I must print that. I'll print that in a different colour." Most rewarding self-design. I'm actually planning on doing a video about practical prints, and I know a few people have done this in the past about practical prints, but I have got, when I walk around, there are so many, and it becomes the norm, and you almost don't think about it. So over my shoulder, the other shoulder, you can see that I've got these on the three of the printers are sat on upturned lac tables, IKEA lac tables, and they're joined together using just slatting over the top tool holders. And so that buzzing Chris Russell is on the show. What show? Not seen any show with Chris Russell. That I said practical prints. Yes, of course. But yeah, so the fact that I use them all the time makes them, you know, fairly useful. Equally behind me, I've got two lac tables, one sat on top of another, and on the four corners of the top one, up onto the legs, are things that basically hold that in position. So it just holds just by gravity, but then it's held in place. by that. So kind of two here. Up in this corner, when I bought this crappy shed, there was a big hole at the top. So where it joined up at the top, there was a hole where the rain came in, or could come in. So I used it was FlexFill I used to actually make a stop over the top of that, so it's like a cover. The dining room chairs have still got little kind of FlexFill feet on them to stop them damaging the floor because they'd worn away. There's a little thing that holds my my wireless router onto the shelf in the cupboard under the stairs because it was just too wide for the router and it kept falling off, so that's held on and zip tied on. The hex wall, I love that because it just means I can fill it. So there's most of the ones that I really like are practical. So there's an awful lot of them that are practical prints that I really like. And when it comes to like the toys and stuff like that that I make, it's usually the last one that I made is my favourite, which is kind of, I guess, often the way. But I am a big fan of the science fiction corridor things that I created just recently for the kids to play with. So probably them at the moment. Probably them. So going back, I know that you asked another one. Favourite non-me design. Nando stuff's crazy. I love Nando stuff. It really is mind-blowing, especially when you look at the procedural stuff, self-generating stuff. That's kind of, it's so clever. Now, don't get me wrong, not all of them are stuff that I would typically print because I don't print like the crystals and the wavy stuff and all that. It's not really my kind of thing to print, but it just blows me away looking at and what it is and doing. And then the building creator, I played with that for ages. I only printed a couple of things off, and in actual fact, I don't think I printed any that had been done just by the building creator, having made my own blocks that didn't work the way I wanted them to, etc. But I just love the idea and I love playing with that as a tool. But yeah, I guess, where is it? Now, have I glued this together is the question. Have I glued this together? I bet I haven't. So this could all go horribly wrong. Non-practical favourite Fernando design is probably that one. I absolutely love it. The Podwalker. And the detail on it is fantastic, and just everything about it is superb. So that, and I've got a lot of busts and things that etc. that I like that I've printed, and that statue again is another one of my favourites. So Tarek Saber's Batman Beyond. I'm a big sucker for Batman. Love Batman. So that as well. But I would say overall, if it was a non-practical thing, it's probably that one. It's probably the Podwalker. Such a nice design. I'll very carefully put it back because there's obviously bits of it that I've not glued together. Oops. When will I make the printers not orange? I actually like the printers being orange. And to be honest, I bought this from Richard. Hertz metallic blue to do my next printer, but you know how fast I do it. I had it, let's think, 18 months, something like that. I've still not done it. But I'm now thinking, actually, I'm not going to bother. I'm going to make it orange. So I think I'll just make all the printers orange. So the original Prusa was black. I don't like it. And what I found was, and this is, I've not got my glasses on tonight because I don't need to see anything too small, but my eyesight is shocking. And the black prints, you really can't see what's going on. So when you try to follow the assembly instruction, you're going, I can't even see. I can't even see that detail. it doesn't exist on that. You have to get it right up there. So yeah, orange is nice and bright and it stands out. And you know, I've even to the point that if you see, where's my finger? That one. If you see the in-betweeny pieces, so these are kind of like the that one's got the screw holes in, I think. No, that one has got the screw holes in that holds the thing up. I've decided to make all of them orange because I consider them as the tool parts on the outside. So that is all orange. So the only thing that I might do if I'm changing colour printers is if I've got a non-Prusa one, I might change that to orange. But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I didn't used to like the orange at all, but it has recently chimed with me a little bit. No, I'm not taking away Tommy's spanner. What else? Practical prints are board. No, practical prints are great. Some assembly required. Gotta use up that PPE pre-cement. Well, yeah, it's a fair point. It's a fair point, Tom. I've only got 10 boxes of it over there, but you know, I'm sure, you know, there is bound to be another need for PPE, so I'm keeping hold of it for now. I don't want to keep hold of it for too long, obviously, but keep hold of it for now. I'll maybe print some stuff in it. I think I've got a couple of spools that were half used, so I'll maybe give them a dry out and use them again. Okay. How do you see your two little ones factoring into your hobby as they grow? So, bear in mind that I've been through kids growing up before. I've got two older boys, one of which is his birthday today, so he won't be watching because obviously his dad is not cool, but happy birthday Adam anyway. So I've got two grown-up boys and then the two kids now. The two kids now really are benefiting from what's available now, I guess. And you know, you say this all the time, I guess. You know, well, the toys now are better than the toys were when we were kids and all that, but also the toys that Dad's got are better than the toys that Dad had when we was kids. My lads the elder lads don't even remember this, but the sci-fi corridor thing that I was talking about before, I tried making something similar to that for the elder boys when they were young, and it was out of MDF and with little plastic brackets and screwed together, and it was awful, and it was huge and weighed an absolute ton, and the image in my mind was nothing like the end product. So you grumpy? It was nothing like the end product. So you know, ultimately that is a massive difference now. That what I can think of in my mind is pretty much what I get at the end of the day when I want to create something for the kids. So you know, I can have all these big ideas and I can decide that I want to make a monster pickup truck for my daughter, and you know, literally a couple of days later, although I made a load of mistakes in this, but even so, a couple of days later and there's the finished item. So I think that makes a massive difference. But not only does it make a massive difference to me and what I'm able to produce now, but it also makes a big difference to what they see as the norm. So what they see as the norm is that you can do that, is that you can decide that you want to make something, you go on the computer, you spend some time on the computer, and then you send it to the printer and the printer makes it. So that is going to be their norm growing up, and hopefully that means that they'll get, you know, my big hope is that they would actually want to do that themselves, and you know, finish up where I would be struggling to get on the printers because they were printing stuff out themselves. So I hope that they will. They both do seem, the boy more than the girl, seem to be have good imaginations when it comes to coming up with things. I was talking about before the way the lad, you know, he for all he didn't sit in CAD and draw this up and what have you, the idea of it, the fact that it was going to be, you know, a trimaran, basically, that looked as though it might be able to fly and go underwater, that basic idea came from him. He told me what he wanted, and I went away and designed that. So in a few years' time, what I hope is that he will then be able to go straight to, I've designed it, you know, and initially it'll be, Dad, can you print this? And then eventually it'll be, you know, when he's old enough, he'll go away and print it himself. Hopefully on a newer printer by then. So yeah, I absolutely, definitely want them to be carrying on that, you know, taking over that mantle, if you like, and doing it. And my biggest thing, and the reason that I wanted a 3D printer, and I've talked about this before, I think, but the reason I wanted a 3D printer is when I was a young kid, my imagination, I always wanted to make my own toys, but I couldn't. I didn't know how to. I didn't have the tools, the toys. Obviously, back in them days, everything was in black and white, so you know it was a lot harder. But the tools just weren't there to do it. So all I did is I used A4 pieces of card to make a road layout. Cut out little pieces of card to be cars, drew on both sides of them, and they were the cars, and you know I made, and then this was the airport, and I'd make aeroplanes, and this was the car factory, and this was, you know, how was it and all that, and you know I made all that sort of stuff. And my thought was, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if when my youngest boy, when he's growing up, because he was just born then, wouldn't it be amazing if as he's growing up he could actually do that, but they be in 3D. But when he goes, oh, I want to make a car, he's actually making something like this. So that really was the thing that drove me to get a 3D printer. Now it turns out that, you know, from an experience point of view, from what I used to do for a living, that I'm not bad at coming up with designs for practical things. Certainly, I can use CAD. I can come up with that. So it's. The hope is that they'll be able to come up with that car theft. It doesn't surprise me at all about you, Tom. Only needed 2 colours of card in his day. I only have 1 colour of card, just 1 colour. I just had white. That's all I had. But I had a pack of coloured pencils. You know, so I could turn that card into any colour I wanted. Multicolour, absolutely no problem. I didn't even have to do it at different heights. So yeah, so that is the big hope, the big dream, if you like, is that they will be able to take over and design and make their own, not only toys but practical things, and hopefully, you know, at some point they'll design and make something and sell millions of them, make an absolute fortune, and I'll be able to retire. Or not, you know, or not. Black and white rainbow card. Didn't exist. I told you, black and white, that's all we had. Black and white everywhere. Okay. Alright, so I said that I was going to stream for an hour. As I said, it was the main driver for doing this was the eSun tie-in. They provided those filaments for me to try, to print, to talk about. Hopefully I've done that. There is still just under 3 hours left if you want to go to Amazon UK and use that code to get 10% off. Please do, off PLA Plus and the eSilk, which I've used. I love. They're really good. So if you're in the market for getting them, you're able to use the UK Amazon, then, you know, great opportunity to get 10% off. The code and the link, I think, are also in the description if you want to see those. So I'm gonna cut it there. What I will say is that, you know, this was the reason that I got back in and did the streaming. I do intend to get back in and do more streaming again now, and you know, some of these nefarious types that are in the chat will hopefully join me on screen. For some of them, and including getting back to the Making Conversation series that I started and made an absolute hash of with Fernando. Brilliant interview from Fernando, lots of interesting information. Unfortunately, the video corrupted, and I finished up with it being an audio only. So I want to go back and redo that. Fortunately, Nando is, never stops thinking for a minute, never stops creating for a minute. So he has got about 1 million other things to talk about since the last time that we spoke. So hopefully we'll be able to get that. I've said it enough times on this stream now to bully him into it. And, with the getting him there on screen, we may even be able to bully him into finishing his robot as well, Nick. Fingers crossed on that one. Hopefully then get another few people, but then I think I want a stream more regular with, different things. One, do the stream and do the update. I do need to get back and, for all little Nick and Nick were berating me last time because I kept talking about my water wheel. You've probably seen that's the spare one, the finished one. So I want to kind of do an update on that one. Equally, there's other stuff as well as the eSun stuff, the stuff that I've been doing that I've been working on. So I'll get hopefully onto that and start giving updates on that. But also kind of the general chats. And I was having a conversation with Tom earlier this week about maybe setting something up where we have a regular chat online that we let other people join in with. So hopefully you will, hopefully for me anyway, you'll see more of me. I don't know whether everybody else will think that's a good thing, but I think that's all that I really wanted to cover. So unless anybody's got any extra questions that they want to ask, if Tom wants to ask me what sort of cheese I like or whatever it is that is a foursome. Yeah, just trust Tom, to put it that way. I'm checking my text. Still not sponsored by Ambrew. Still not. Can't believe it. All right. Okay. So I think I will leave it there. I thank you all for your time. Hopefully, as I say, if you're interested in getting some eSun filament, that you will be able to take advantage of that code, which is available all the way till midnight tonight, and only on the UK store, and unfortunately only for PLA Plus and for eSilk, because the TPU's all out of stock. Just to once again say, the TPU, if you're in the market for flexible, then absolutely 1 kilogram of TPU for the prices that they've got it at is an absolute steal. It prints great. Hopefully at some point in the not too distant future I'm going to get an even better setup for printing flex when I've copied enough of what Tom does, and at that point then all bets are off, because they say this stuff prints great, even with my standard setup. So I'm just, if I could use retraction as well, then the world would be great. So okay, as I say, I will leave it there. It will probably take me, I feel like a night. Can I feel like a night child? It'll probably take me a minute or two to figure out which buttons to press. As I said before, I've not streamed for a while. I don't know where they are, but so once again, thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks to Tommy Graphic for the superb professional looking logos, etc., that I do my best to make a mess of every time I use. I apologise, Tommy, straight away for the eSun 3D Live on top of your nice name tag. I couldn't use Nomad because it's all capitals, and the capitalisation matters on the code. So I had to abandon your style guide for that one. So I do apologise for making your graphics look bad. Okay, so I'm up to about the 4th time I've said I'll call that a night. So I think that's enough. So okay, thanks a lot, guys, and I shall speak to you all soon, hopefully.